Hi guys, I'm coming in to just talk a little bit about my new medication regimen for fibromyalgia and the RA pain. So I know I did this huge thing about how I wasn't taking pharmaceuticals for it, and then I did end up kind of switching insurances and found a great doctor who I can actually recommend to anyone who's kind of in the northern Colorado area. If you have Kaiser, she's really great. So I did talk to her about some of the problems I was having with the fibro and just being completely exhausted. Not to say that natural remedies weren't necessarily working. I was getting some form of relief, but it's kind of hard to chase those symptoms so far out. So I decided, she brought up venlafaxine or Effexor. And I figured I would just give it a try, see how that could help me. So it kind of the first 3 days I took 75 milligrams, and the first 3 or 4 days, and that was kind of rough. I had pretty bad headaches those first 4 days, still going to work and everything, so that was kind of, I wasn't really sure if that was going to be for me, but of course, coming up, especially on high levels of these antidepressants, it's something you just kind of have to get used to. So on my 5th day, I went up to taking 2 capsules, and that was my 150, and I think I did that for, at least a month and a half, and then, so maybe I should back up a little bit. When I was talking to my doctor about it, we did discuss a little bit of the anxiety. So I don't have any problems with depression. I never really have. But the anxiety is definitely something that I experienced a lot. So we figured, 1, for the anxiety, and 2, for the fibro pain, if we can knock 2 things out of the park, that'd be great. So at first I for sure noticed, even with the headaches, I was noticing a difference in the amount of anxiety I was experiencing, which was really great. So that in itself, I think, is just hand over fist a reason to be taking it for me. So I can definitely vouch for that. And then I did end up having a really bad fibro day, a couple of days, basically over a long weekend, where I was in so much pain. I was just in bed crying, and I didn't know what to do. And I figured once every couple of months it's okay to feel that pain, because it's not every day. So I did bring it up to my doctor, and she said no, she doesn't want me to feel that pain at all, and the point with the venlafaxine is to get me to a point where I don't have those bad days. So I thought that was a huge deal, especially coming from a newer doctor that I didn't really know that well yet. And everybody, I don't want to say everybody, but I think most of us know that a lot of doctors don't want to go through the trying to get the pain to go away completely. Most of them are on the side that if you can be pain-free for at least, a couple of months without having a bad day, then you're doing really well. So she told me to go ahead and start taking 225 milligrams, and so that's what I started doing, probably 4 weeks ago now. And when I went up to that dosage, there was no difference in how I felt taking it. I just noticed it looks like I don't have any hair. It's really just braided back. So there really wasn't any difference in how I felt taking that extra dose, but I have noticed that my energy level is a lot better, and I feel like I'm definitely having a lot less of the cigarette burn pain. I know that everyone with fibro doesn't necessarily have that, but I for sure have them. The little pinpricks, really, really hot points that hurt just intense for a couple of seconds, and they travel all over your body all day. I definitely have those, and they're a big issue, and I didn't recognize that I wasn't having them until I had a couple, and then I thought about how terrible it was. So I do still get them, but way less frequently, which is amazing. And then also, like I said, the energy level and the anxiety, just the lack of anxiety that I go through every day is so much better. So I definitely am enjoying the venlafaxine. I'm not having any of the problems like I did with the duloxetine. Part of it though is I cannot take, or you can't take NSAIDs with the venlafaxine. So, and that's kind of what I was living on to get me through, was naproxen. So now it's just APAP, so I'm taking acetaminophen if I do need it, but it's very rare. Well, maybe rare is relative, maybe a couple of times a week versus every day. So that's pretty nice. The change in that is really nice. And then I was also prescribed muscle relaxers, and I wish I could think of the name right now. But it's a very popular muscle relaxer, and I did notice that a couple of days when I was trying to get ahead of the pain, I can feel it coming. I think most of us can normally feel it coming when you know it's going to ramp up to be a very bad day or a very bad night. So I took a couple of them before bed a few nights, and those really helped as well. But obviously those aren't for the everyday pain, but I think it's definitely, I'm coming back into thinking it's okay to use pharmaceuticals to help me with the fibro pain. I was kind of feeling a little sad about it after the duloxetine failure and how bad that really was to come off of, and especially start taking it was pretty rough as well. But yeah, so I figured I'd come in and let you guys know a little bit about my journey, how that's been going lately. So yeah, I think it's going really well with the venlafaxine. I think it's definitely something to look into, and remember that if you don't have a doctor that believes you, keep fighting and keep firing until you find one. It's totally fine to fire your doctors. It's totally fine to keep searching and to question them if you don't think something sounds right. So good luck, guys.